my opponent says that this will, going into space is a job for humans, and that humans are much more efficient than robots could ever be, but he talks about how they can work together, but in turn, you have to consider that, so a big issue with this is that people think that the human needs to be the hero, and that they need to have a face for people to actually care about what they're talking about. But when they sent the Mars Pathfinder up, Francis Lakey suggests that he discusses that the Mars Pathfinder returned a treasure trove of data and pictures for $265 million, which is much cheaper than sending a man up into space, and had 720 hits in just 1 year. So because they put that video live, people were able to view it, and 720 million hits doesn't sound like people don't care. And talking about humans and robots working together, there have been a lot of advances in VR systems and teleoperation, which will improve the humans to remotely control a variety of complex robotic operations in space, because they can use hand controllers and the headsets that will match their individual's movements to the robot, so that way they can work with the robots in space, and it's not just a robot sitting up there to do its own thing. Humans can actually control their movements and control what they're doing. There's also the telepresence, which is basically the same thing, and it permits, and they can do that without the danger of sending a human into space and all the logistical problems that are associated with that. And they are capable of much more than an individual human could be, because they have enhanced strength, endurance, and sensory capabilities, so it's like a human but even better. Robots can also do more in space than humans could. Rovers can traverse planet's surface and test physical chemical properties of soil and collect samples and then return them to Earth, so they can do that while they're up there. I also discussed all of the rovers and all of the different things that they have accomplished, and the different things that they can do that humans can't, like fitting into tight areas or being great multitaskers, like going into the ice and taking pictures and going along its surface, and just doing things that enhancing human capabilities. My opponent also discussed that there is a lot of economic benefit of sending people into space. So Francis Lakey discusses that many say that there's an economic benefit of a Mars mission, which would result in technology spinoffs, but very few technology spinoffs have resulted in the last 10 years, and there have been very few transfer successes at NASA over previous decades that have surfaced. So it would actually have less of an economic benefit. You'd be spending more money than you should. It has also cost a lot of money for them to send space shuttles into space. So according to Jeremy Hasu, who's a science writer, the final tally of space shuttles program's lifetime cost is roughly $1.5 billion per flight. So that's just a lot of money to be spending on just one flight, and you don't even know if it's going to have any benefit to you. The Apollo program alone cost about $175 billion, and it was mainly a geopolitical stunt trying to show, during the Cold War, to show American technological superiority over Russia. And that just doesn't sound like it's a good use of money if you're literally just doing it to show your superiority. The jobs are also not stable in the sector, so it's not stimulating the economy in that way. According to Elizabeth Howell, who's a senior writer at Universe Today, stable jobs are challenging because some of NASA's programs are dependent on grants. NASA's budget is allocated by Congress, so the amount of money it has available for employment fluctuates, so there's really no stability there because you never know what you're going to be paid. Elizabeth Howell goes on to discuss that many universities have researchers working on multiple projects, many of which are not NASA related, so NASA isn't even directly paying them at all times, because oftentimes they're working on multiple projects and that's where they're getting their money elsewhere. Thank you.